bad news a little bit lately. My little hospital scare, my little hospital stay, and that pretty much subsided, but then I was laying low for a really long time, probably about a month. I was on light duty. I was, bumming around and anything. Anyways, so long story short, well, it might be long anyways. The other day I actually called up Don to come fishing with us, because we were again doing light duty stuff. My brother was here. We were going to actually take all the fish out of the pond, and Don was like, "I'm not feeling great," just out of nowhere. He wasn't feeling the best, so he says, "I'm going to pass on this one, but thanks for inviting me." So, anyways, fast forward next couple of days, he he sends me a text message, which is just like Don. He's like, I asked him again. I said, like, we're going fishing again because we haven't got all the fish out. And do you want to come by to go fishing? And he's like, he texts me back, and he's like, I just have to, I'll text you in a bit. I'm in the hospital, and it's about my heart. And he leaves me hanging like that. I'm like, well, like, what is that? So I wait, and anyways, that night he calls me, because it deserves a phone call. So anyways, he calls me up and he says, I had a heart attack. And I'm like, what do you mean you had a heart attack? He's like, well, I woke up this morning and it wasn't feeling right, so I drove myself to the hospital. And I was like, you drove yourself to the hospital? He's like, yeah, I drove myself to the hospital. They hooked me up to the machines, and they said I was having a heart attack. I'm like, the badass that he is, I don't even know if I can say that, he drove himself to the hospital while having a heart attack, which is crazy. So anyways, he checks in. I guess you check in at the hospital. Drove up to the ER thinking he had essentially acid reflux, and he was going to be in and out with a Pepsid AC or whatever, and he would have been fine. And so anyways, they hooked him up, and they discovered that he was actively having a heart attack. So fast forward to 9 o'clock. So from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. he gets sent to a larger hospital, which they did heart surgery, and they installed 3 stents into his heart. And I think basically that was that. I guess it was, they got it under control. They kept him for a couple of days just to monitor his situation. And as far as I can tell, like I went and visited him, and he looked the same, and he had a little bit more scruff in his face, but otherwise he was in good spirits. And I guess when they checked him out, they said, all your stats are doing awesome. Your cholesterol is great. Everything's great. And basically they asked him like, do you have a history of sort of heart disease? And I guess he does. And I guess his father succumbed to heart disease when he was the ripe old age. And so that's the only underlying really factor that he has, was that he has a history of heart disease in his family. So that's pretty scary. So anyways, Don is doing great. He's resting right now. He's pretty much has to keep his heart under 120 beats per minute. That was the recommendation. He's out of an abundance of caution, he's sort of like not driving right now, just to make sure he's got everything under control. So he was like, he doesn't want a big fuss about him, but he's been a really, an asset to the channel. He's been retired for a couple of years now, and he's kind of, I kind of include him, because back when I was working a lot day to day, he was my helper, and we would go on adventures, and we would do projects and bathroom renovation and stuff like that. So since he's retired, he's kind of like, he wants to be active, wants to do projects. So he's been tagging along with the channel for a couple of years now, doing projects with me and stuff. So this is kind of what Don likes doing. He likes staying active. And anyways, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a background on how I met Don and why Don is actually in our picture. Chris and I, we actually met Don going way back, probably about 10 years ago, when Chris and I did general contracting. Don actually responded to an ad we had placed for I believe bathroom fan installation, and Don needed a bathroom fan installed, so we went in and we were doing drywall repair and stuff like that. So we went in that's how we met Don. So we did that, and at a later date, Don called us back because we did such a great job with the bathroom fan install. He had a skylight repair that I went in and did patching with, and then at a later date, Don actually hired me to replace all the plumbing in his house. and he had been laid off from his company that he was working for, and he was like, you know, I'm not working right now, but I can give you a hand. So I'm here. I'm like, well, I kind of work alone usually, and so I kind of reluctantly agreed, not knowing how capable Don was. And so anyways, he helped me replumb his entire house, and he was very knowledgeable, even though he had not done it before, at kind of foreseeing what needed to be done, you know, what tools needed to be done, what kind of seeing past your nose. And I was, you know, grateful for that. He helped quite a bit on his own projects. So, and then fast forwarding to that, I kind of started including them in a lot of the projects that I was doing as a general contractor. He would come and help. You know, 2-3 days a week, he would come and, you know, basically be active, you know, a reason to kind of get up in the morning, get your hands dirty, you know, see progress, have that satisfaction of getting a job well done. So after I kind of stopped doing general contracting and Don sort of, you know, settling into retirement, you know, we started the channel up, and I wanted to include Don in our projects because we've always kind of collected firewood together. Don is he's an avid firewood collector, I would say. He's an expert level. He's got it all cut specific sizes and stacked and stuff like that. So anyways, so that's kind of why Don kind of evolved into where he is on the channel. I call him up when we have, you know, interesting activities to do, and Don, you know, makes himself available and comes because he wants to do it. So he wants to stay active, and we do take care of him. Chris and I, on Chris's channel and on my channel, we do take care of him, you know, monetarily. So anyways, Don was a little reluctant that I do this for. He doesn't actually know that I'm going to be doing this, but what I'm actually setting up is a GoFundMe page for Don. So it kind of gives you guys the opportunity to help Don out yourself, and kind of, you know, if Don's made you laugh in the past and you want to like pay it forward, sort of thing. You'll be able to click the link in the description below to his GoFundMe page, where we're going to set up so we can give Don a little something, because he does have a little bit of expenses coming up with not being able to essentially drive, and he's got a whole boatload of medication where he had no medication before. Here in Canada, you had the heart surgery was covered, hospital stay was covered, so it's not like medical bills. It's just day-to-day stuff that normally, you know, the ongoing activity that he does would cover, but now he can't really do it. He's laid up for at least a month. He's on kind of like low activity, just kind of laying low, doing some walking. He's been very active all the time anyways. He's usually biking or something like that, so he's going to stay under 120 beats per minute. It's going to be really hard for him because I know he's been very active in the past, and he likes to stay active. So anyways, if you can help Don out, again, click the link down below, the GoFundMe. He's been an asset to our channel. He's a good friend of ours. He's a good friend of the family. And anyways, if you can help Don out, be sure to do so. Click the link down below, and yeah, we'll keep you updated on the progress. Hopefully Don recovers well, and we'll see him in the future. So anyways, this is we'll leave you on the happy note that Don is resting well. He's doing great, and hopefully he can come back in the future, and we can see him again on the channel.